So they call it the Disney bubble because when you walk into those theme parks or you board a Disney cruise, I'm not being facetious when I say your cares melt away.
AJ Matthews is the Disney specialist who turned one unforgettable family trip into a full-time travel business.
I threw out the idea of a 22-person strong Disney World family reunion.
Wow.
A lot of people think I was insane, and I really must have been. But I loved planning it.
What are some of the key components? What do you have to get right when you go there?
Well, so the problem about trying to plan a Disney vacation on your own is it's kind of like saying, I'm thirsty, I'm going to go to the water fountain, and then somebody turns a fire hose on your face.
How are you garnering some of your first clientele when you were starting this up?
My family and my friends are a great network. I've been very blessed to have my network, share some stuff. My wife's best friend's brother and his wife live in Japan. He teaches English to Japanese kids. And so those are my Japanese clients. It's a lot of family and friends. And then as things progress, the web just spreads.
There's a couple of misconceptions I've written down about like booking through a travel agent. Like one, it's going to cost you more money. Can you dispel that?
The misconception is that it's going to cost more. We do not charge our clients a cent.
All right, folks. So we want to take a quick minute to introduce our diamond sponsor, Chris Seegers with Exceptional Business Advisors. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your business, sir?
Man, a question that we love to ask our potential clients is, do you know what your business is worth? And if you sold your business today, would it fulfill your personal and financial goals? If you're a successful business owner, but you don't know when or how to sell your business, and if you've ever wondered what each additional day in your business is actually costing you, we'd love to chat. If you're ready to spend more time with your family, your friends, or traveling, come sit down with our team, because when you work with exceptional business advisors, we'll help you build a blueprint to sell your business successfully and help you create, capture, and achieve your dream life. Don't wait for the right time. The time's now. Go ahead and scan the QR code or book a discovery appointment at excoadvisors.com.
Now let's get back to the show.
Welcome back to the COS Business Podcast, number one business podcast in Colorado. I am here today with my co-host, Chris. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man.
Awesome, brother. Well, we have a
Excited.
very special guest today, a returning guest, AJ Matthews, but this time with Be Our Guest Getaways. So how you doing? How you doing, man?
Doing great. I'm excited to be back and kind of talk about this new old venture, if you will. So.
Yeah, I'm so excited too. And again, like we had you before, we were talking about Celebrity DJ, the whole precipice of what started that. And I mean, it's such an amazing company. We talked in full detail about how you got started with that, the whole like full circle moments of all that's going on in that business, which is great. But you started another business in the midst of all that, and I kind of want to get into it. But
Sure.
it's very exciting because we had a sponsor on this show that was very similar. Like what was like 6 months ago, and like right when she exited as a sponsor, you came on with something very similar. So talk about Be Our Guest Getaways. What got you into Be Our Guest Getaways and what it's about?
So Be Our Guest Getaways, we're essentially a travel agency specializing in Disney vacations. I'm born and raised in New York, grew up on the East Coast. I can't say I grew up going to Disney World. I went a couple of times as a kid. And it was kind of out of sight, out of mind. You do it and you're good. And then years later, I'm a father. And we just had this, we kind of happened into an opportunity to take a Disney cruise and parlay that with like a bit of a family reunion on my wife's side down to Disney World. And at that time, my kids were 2 and 5. And I mean, I'm like, a typical guy. I'm like, Disney, princesses, characters, goofy, whatever. There is nothing like seeing Disney through the eyes of your own children.
Oh, yeah.
And the moment we wrapped up our time on the cruise ship, wrapped up our time in the theme parks, we were instantly thinking, what do we have to do to get back? And, it started this love affair with Disney. And so, some families choose camping as their thing. We just decided to become a Disney family, and we leaned hard into it. We've done a ton of Disney cruises and, Disney World, Disneyland. And in 2019, I wanted to make sure that my side of the family got an opportunity to experience the magic. I'm one of 6 kids. Mom and dad are both still with us, and there's a lot of grandkids. And so I threw out the idea of a 22-person strong Disney World family reunion.
Wow.
A lot of people think I was insane, and I really must have been. But I loved planning it. I loved the intricacies of putting together the itinerary for everybody. Like, okay, here's where we're staying. Just get yourself there. I'm going to take care of the rest. We're going to talk you through how to, experience the parks, get the most bang for your buck. And, I started doing that and adding on, more vacations for my family. And many family members and friends were like, you're a natural at this. You should really think about trying to monetize it. I'm like, hey, I'm busy. I mean, I already have 2 full-time jobs. I don't need another. But then it kind of dawned on me after I was on with you guys last year talking about Celebrity DJ. Celebrity DJ is kind of on autopilot, which is what every business owner wants. You establish a name, it grows, and then it's just word of mouth. And so we're still successful there. But as I'm approaching 50 years old, I realize I'm not going to be lugging gear around and DJing weddings for the rest of my life. But I want to travel until the day I die. And if this is something that I can do and help other families experience that joy and that magic, then, there's nothing better.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you, have you ever done Disney with your family and kids yet?
We haven't. So we've got a 9, a 7, and a 5, and they've asked me every single year.
Those are the magic
sounds
ages.
like we need to have a conversation.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, it's so much. I used to go with my niece, and we used to live in California, so it was easy to go to Disneyland. And there's just something about it. The moment you walk in, everything, every little detail has been thought out. That's the thing about Disney. And talk about that too. Like your first time going there with the family and kids, and you're talking about like looking through Disney through the eyes of your kids and seeing their reaction to this. But like, to someone who's never been there, who's like, okay, I heard of Disney, of course, everybody's heard of Disney, but like, what makes it so special?
So they call it the Disney bubble, because when you walk into those theme parks or you board a Disney cruise, I'm not being facetious when I say your cares melt away. We are living in volatile times. There's a lot of charged emotions, but when you get to go to a place like Disney World or Disneyland or embark on a Disney cruise, you just kind of forget about that. And the attention to detail is what I like. You don't become the Walt Disney Company without understanding how to do customer service, and just every little thing is thought out. I read a book on Walt Disney and what his passions were about the park. And it's why, it's built up. When you're inside Disneyland or you're inside Disney World, you can't look out and see the world outside. They've built it up around the perimeter of the park so you can't see it. It's kind of like, they don't want people to be able to pull back that curtain. And so just that attention to detail, the customer service, the value. A lot of people, say Disney is so expensive. It can be, but you get what you pay for, and that's why I really have a passion for helping people who have either never done it before or have done it but want to try to do it differently, to help them put together that magical memory-making vacation for their family.
What are some of the key components? So what do you have to get right when you go there?
Well, so the problem about trying to plan a Disney vacation on your own is it's kind of like saying, I'm thirsty, I'm going to go to the water fountain, and then somebody turns a fire hose on your face, because there are so many nuances to, experiencing the parks to their fullest. If you're going to be shelling out that kind of money to go on a Disney cruise or to go to the Disney parks, stay at a Disney resort, you don't just show up on day one without a plan in place. And that's where we come in as experienced travelers who have been there, done that. we can help guide you through that process because it can be overwhelming. A person whose kids say, Dad, we want to go to Disney World. Let's make it happen. You're going to sit down, and after 15 minutes, you're going to close the laptop,
You say,
scooch
"No."
away from the table, and be like, you know what, guys? How about camping?
I think I did that actually.
Because it's just so much. It's unlike any other vacation you've ever tried to plan because it can be relaxing if you want it to be. You could do a week-long Disney resort vacation and maybe only do a couple 3 days in the park and really lounge by the resort. Or you can go to their resort Aulani in Hawaii, which has to be one of the most relaxing vacations my family's ever taken. Or you go on a Disney cruise. I mean, you can relax, you can play, but most people, when they go to Disney, they want to suck out every moment, every opportunity. And so it's called being a rope drop to fireworks family. Rope drop is when they open first thing in the morning. Fireworks is the last thing before they close the park down at night. And that is it can be a 16-hour day.
Wow.
And so, helping people plan for a day like that with little kids, kids your age, teenagers, you can experience it differently. And my own kids are the beta test. I mean, they're 16 and 19 now, but when we started going, they were 2 and 5. And we've seen them grow up going, and we know the tips and tricks to keep kids happy and appeased. I will tell you right now, I don't care how old your kids are, the double stroller is the key to a successful day in the parks because
Like they push you in the double stroller now?
Yes, exactly.
That's what I would have them doing for me.
No, because I mean, honestly, even if they're getting kind of big for strollers, having that double stroller is a great place for, okay, listen, you are overstimulated. I want you to sit here. Why don't you close your eyes for a little bit? When you wake up, we'll still be here. We're not going home. All right. But it's just, those are the kinds of little things that, people take for granted. They don't think about.
Well, it's a marathon, right? I mean, that's what you're talking about, from the rope drop to the fireworks. And the fireworks are every single night?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. 40,000 step days is what we average when we go to Disney. Now, Disney World is immense. If you've never been, it's 4 parks geographically spread out. My feet love Disneyland because you exit Magic Kingdom, go across the walkway, and then you're at California Adventure. It's much easier to take. And I tell people all the time, especially if they are kind of from west of the Mississippi, maybe you ease in with Disneyland. Make that your barometer because Disney World it's like comparing a 5K to a marathon. Disneyland is big and so many great opportunities and things to do there. But when you go to Disney World, that's a whole other, it's Disneyland versus Disney World.
We're going to take a quick break to thank our sponsors.
RainTech.
RainTech is a trusted IT partner that keeps your business running smoothly.
From cybersecurity to cloud solutions and data recovery, they've got your back so you can focus on what you do best.
Learn more at rain.tech. That's RAIN.tech.
Savion HQ.
Is your back office chaos? Are you buried in HR, payroll, and financial guesswork?
Your passion shouldn't be a prison. Savion HQ is your fractional back office partner. We merge HR, payroll, accounting, and tax to bring order to the chaos and make your passion profitable again.
Stop the bleed, get your freedom back. Find us at savionhq.com or email at hello@savionhq.com.
Data Hubs is a compliance intelligence and orchestration platform that helps organizations meet the requirements of frameworks like ISO 27001, SOC 2, CMMC, HIPAA, GDRP, and more.
Data Hubs gives small and mid-sized businesses a premium compliance experience while cutting down the time, cost, and stress it usually takes to get across the finish line. Learn more at datahubs.com. That's DATAHUBZ.com.
Reveal Med Spa. Look and feel your best at Reveal Med Spas. With personalized plans that deliver real results, radiant skin, restored confidence, and natural rejuvenation.
At Reveal Med Spa, we see you. More than just aesthetic and wellness treatments, we provide a safe, judgment-free space where you feel valued, heard, and supported.
Visit RevealMedSpas.com.
I think it is literally just that too. We'll just double check. Book your next session at RevealMedSpas.com. That's RevealMedSpas.com. Fast Signs. From banners to vehicle wraps, Fast Signs delivers custom visual solutions to help your business stand out. Their team ensures your message is clear, bold, and effective. Get your signage needed handled at FastSigns.com. That's FastSigns.com. dreamaccountings.com.
Dream Accounting Solutions. Take the stress out of managing your books with Dream Accounting Solutions. They provide reliable expert accounting services tailored to small businesses. Simplify your finances at dreamaccountings.com. That's dreamaccountings.com.
Exponential Impact. Exponential Impact is driving innovation and entrepreneurial success in Colorado Springs. Supporting startups with mentorship, funding, and community resources, they help businesses grow and thrive. Learn more about their impact at exponentialimpact.com. That's exponentialimpact.com.
And now let's get back to the show.
Well, I want to talk about more specifics on the rides.
Yeah.
Have you ever read the book The Last Lecture? Have you ever heard of that book before?
No.
It's by a guy named Randy Pausch is how you pronounce his last name. And it's a really great book. It's kind of a sad book because it's a father writing a book of his life and like lessons along the way to his kids. And
Yeah.
he has terminal cancer,
Oh.
which is super sad. But it gained a lot of notoriety because one, he's like one of the original Imagineers. He was one of the
Oh.
engineers picked from Carnegie Mellon. I think he was actually a professor at Carnegie Mellon and work for Disney as like one of the people who really designed out the rides, because the rides are a whole experience in itself.
Right.
And the methodology behind the rides, which is like something just like you're talking about, every detail matters. And it's just such an interesting book. And it got me into really understanding the details of Disney and what it takes to, I mean, Imagineers are like creme de la creme of engineers. People think, aerospace, it's Disneyland and Disney World and the whole Disney universe with Imagineers.
Right.
And talk about that, like the rides, because like for me, and I'll pass it over to you, but like I've only been to Disneyland, but my mom always, like the moment I got there, I'll never forget this. And for me, that was a lot of walking as a kid, even
Yeah.
Disneyland.
Right.
But I remember she's like, you have to do the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. And this is like 99 or something like that, or something of that sort. And I'm like, why? But back then, like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, it was like the best animatronics you can kind of get, right? And it was like this whole adventure through like this cave, and it was just super fun. And there's a restaurant at the end of it. It was just so much fun. And like, I'll never forget going on that ride because it was such a special moment in my life with my family being on that ride and just a cool adventure. But talk about that.
Well, and Disney, like all smart businesses, have evolved with the times. I mean, if you think about the crazy, insane technological advancements in the last 30 years. I mean, Disney World, Disneyland, so different from when I was going, the handful of times I went when I was a kid. They have evolved and they have stepped it up in a big way. So, for example, Pandora is the land devoted to Avatar in Animal Kingdom down in Disney World in Orlando. And I've never seen Avatar. I know that's crazy. I've never seen Avatar, but it didn't stop me from wanting to go because I know that anything that Disney touches, they turn to gold. And we had a chance to experience it opening weekend in 2017. We rode an attraction called the Flight of Passage. And in 2019, on that family reunion, I think one of the core memories for me, if you can still form core memories as a close to 50-year-old, is riding on Flight of Passage with my 70-year-old father next to me. He knows nothing about Avatar. He is vehemently opposed to all things science fiction. But this is a fully immersive, like 4-dimensional ride with the glasses and the screen and the movement, and listening to my father laugh out loud, giggle, and go, whoa, as we're doing different things in the ride. I'll never forget that. That's what Disney does. That's what Disney does. It transplants you from reality to this unreality that is almost reality because of how truly real it is.
I think I've heard of that ride. That's like one of the most popular rides in the
It
world.
has got to be my favorite attraction on the planet in my entire life.
Yeah, we might have to pull some B-roll for that because, like, I think I might have shared something with Andrew before about it, but it's an insane ride because it's almost like you're on a roller coaster.
Well, you don't move forward or backwards. You're on, in Avatar, the banshees. Those are the things that fly. So you're strapped onto the back of a banshee, and you're flying. And you've got these 3D goggles, and you're seeing this immersive world. But like when you coast down over the water, you get spritzed with water.
Yes.
And you want to talk about the attention to detail, the seat that you straddle, the banshee, it breathes. So on your legs, you feel breathing for the entire time. So you are separated from reality. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm in this. It's wild.
Wow, that's insane, man. Yeah, we gotta get the kiddos over there for sure.
I'm getting excited. Good thing they don't watch the podcast. So
Yeah.
we got to do this immediately.
We need those views.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen to the clip for sure. I wanted to go into like some more of the business side of things, with especially like when we're talking travel agent kind of verbiage, right? Because there's a lot of negative connotation for whatever reason with that, and I've never really understood why there is. But like, there's a couple of misconceptions I've written down about like booking through a travel agent. Like, one, it's going to cost you more money. Can you dispel that kind of misconception about using a travel agent, especially with Disney? Because I know there's a lot of things involved, especially what Disney does, that's a little bit different.
Well, and I think that negative connotation stems from the evolution of Travelocity, Priceline, and all the do-it-yourself tools. In the late 90s, early 2000s, people realized, I don't need someone to do this for me. I can do it myself. So it's almost like people deem travel agents irrelevant. Sure, you can do a lot of that stuff for yourself. And as a travel agent, like, airfare is not something we do. The airlines don't work with independent travel agents. They work with very large companies, but the airlines don't. And you can easily book your own hotels on your own, points cards or whatever. But the misconception is that it's going to cost more. We do not charge our clients a cent. All of the vacation planning that we offer is free of charge to the client. We are compensated on the back end by the vendor. So Disney Cruise Line, Disney Resorts, we're taken care of on the back end. So it almost seems to me like a too good to be true thing, but it's not. You've got somebody who's got years of experience planning Disney vacations for their own family. So, I mean, vested interest right there. Now willing to share their knowledge, impart their knowledge, and to help you put together a wonderful vacation, whether it be stay and play or sail and stay and play. I mean, whenever we go to Florida, we're not going to drop money on airfare just to go to Orlando and do the parks. We're going to do a cruise and the parks and the resorts, So all of that vacation planning expertise is offered at no additional charge. It does not cost the client anything. You've got some people who are very, very type A, very particular, and we get out of the way of that. We tell them, we're going to take as much or as little control as you want. We can do everything for you, or we can just open the doors, let us know. But I find most people, whether they have Disney experience or none, they do understand the value, not to mention the fact that all clients who, book with us receive, if it's on the cruise, they get an onboard stateroom credit as a thank you. If it's at the resorts, a Disney gift card that they can spend in the park, just as a way to say thank you so much for entrusting us, for making magical memories for your family.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And even on the vendor side, if you're buying a premium product, you want every one of those experiences to be perfect, right? So they're like, hey, let's get a professional to line this up that's already experienced it, as opposed to somebody like me that gets on there, spends a ton of money. We go out there and I'm like, I don't know what we're doing. And then we have a terrible experience and we never go back.
Yeah,
right?
most of the time, most of the people that are naysayers of Disney are people who went and just said it was a waste of money. We just wandered in circles. The lines were so long, blah, 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 blah. You know what? That, if you don't plan, that's exactly what it will be. But entrusting someone who knows the ins, the outs, the tips, the tricks, that's the way to go, because you're spending this money already. Why not get the best value at no additional cost?
And when you were talking about how much you enjoyed it, like, oh, we were planning this family vacation, I'm like, that's my pure hell. So it's like, finding somebody like you that loves doing that, a thing that I would literally slap the laptop shut. I'm not going to do it because it's too much.
I'm a self-professed Disney dork.
I love it.
And it's, as I said, it's just because of my kids. I mean, 16 and 19, and they're as excited now for our trip over the holidays. We're heading to the land down under. We're going to be taking back-to-back Disney cruises, New Zealand and Australia. They're as excited now as they were 10 years ago. They love it. And my daughter is in college pursuing a career that will see her knock on wood, hopefully working aboard Disney Cruise Line as a main stage performer.
Oh,
You know, she's a musical theater major. She's gifted singer, dancer, actress, and she wants to be one of those people because she grew up, being tickled pink that Cinderella took time to say hi to her on the cruise. Now she wants to do that.
That's
Man. Well, I have a question for you because I know Chris is like me in this, and we'll preface it like this. I don't normally like taking vacations. I'm like so about my work, but after maybe day 3 or 4 or 5, I'm like, okay, this was the right thing to do. I'm so glad I'm here. I'm on vacation. You as a business owner, before all this too, was it hard for you to pull away? Or were you always that person that's like, no, I love vacations. I'm glad to get away. It's a great reset for me. How were you when you're kind of working your way into incorporating this into your life?
As we talked last year, when we was talking about Celebrity DJ, it's all about the team, and my director of operations, Chadwick Meisner, has made life so much easier for us to step away because I know that when I leave, Celebrity DJ is in good hands. Be Our Guest Getaways, it's a passion project. They say when you're a business owner, you never stop working. But here's the thing, like if I'm going on vacation and it's a Disney vacation, is that considered work? I'm going to be checking emails and, scoping things out and taking video on board the cruises to make sure that my clients who've never experienced one kind of know what to expect, that kind of stuff. I think a hard reset is always very important. As somebody who has felt like they've worked like a dog since they were about 8 years old, you get life tired if you don't step away and recharge. Work is always going to be there. You can always work and you can always make more money, but you can't get back lost time and you can't keep your kids small. And so time, to me, is the most valuable commodity. And you see it slipping away every single day. So when you can disconnect and share time with the people you love, nothing is going to fill your emotional bucket more than being able to be away with them.
I love that. It's really interesting because, like you mentioned, society has kind of got this grayness about it right now. And even for us, it's like watching my kids, the joy, we just got a puppy, much to my chagrin. And watching the kids interact with this puppy is giving me joy. I don't even puppies are kind of annoying, right? Like you're always having to take care of them and clean up with, but watching that joy with the kids, how would you utilize this reset using Disney if you are somebody that's like, hey, I've been grinding since COVID, I'm tired, my family's tired, and we just really can't seem to get that spark back?
There's a lot of people who know very well, that old adage of Peter Pan, you can grow older, but you don't have to grow up. But man, oh man, there are days where we feel like we are growing older and we've grown up and adulting is just exhausting. As I said, there's this sense of disconnect from reality when you go to Disney. You see, Mickey Mouse is iconic. And it's one thing to see him on a bumper sticker, see a plushie, see him on TV. But when you just see him strolling around the park, I don't care if you're 5 or 50, you're going to be like, Mickey. My wife loves Winnie the Pooh and her favorite character is Tigger. And I watched a grown woman get giddy and I'm not going to say she was shoving kids out of the way, but she was beelining to Tigger. And it's just because it's a safe place where kids of all ages can be kids. And I think it's important for kids to see their parents decompress.
I love it.
See their parents unwind, because parenting and adulting is tough, and we've got this sharp exterior and we're just going through life and we're just kind of on autopilot. So when you can disconnect and help, it will help the relationship you have with your kids if they can see the kid in you, if that makes sense.
I love that. Yeah. Brendan Burchard has a comment that I love, which is he always tries to bring the joy to any room he comes into.
Yeah.
And as a parent, you want to exemplify that to your kids.
Right.
You don't want your kids to be like, all right, growing up means life sucks. Right? It's all the adults we see are unhappy.
There's plenty of time to experience that,
For sure.
So if you can stave that off for a bit, that's the way to go.
I love it.
Yeah, it's super interesting what we were talking about before, especially I don't know. I feel like Disney has a lot of nostalgia for it too, because a lot of us grew up with Disney too, you know, watching them. So it kind of brings the inner kid out of you too, right? Just to like experience Mickey or Tigger or whoever it might be. You know, it's so interesting. And it's funny because there's been a lot of remakes too in Disney because of, you know, nostalgia and pulling that in. Do you see, from your personal experience, just, we were actually talking about this before you came on, but just adults just going to Disney with no kids at all?
Yeah, they're called Disney adults, and people will be very judgy outside of the Disney bubble. Like, you're going to Disney without your kids? Yeah, I am. And it's okay. Disney adults are a fun bunch. My wife and I have flat out said, hey, you know, we're going to continue vacationing after the kids are gone. But Disney also has so many opportunities. Like, you don't just have to go to the theme parks. You can go on the cruises, and the cruises are wonderful because you can do as much or as little as you want in a day. You can pull out a beach chair at like a deck chair at 8 a.m. and stay in it all day if you want. Never move. Just get up to eat, you know, or you could be running around the ship on the days at sea, experiencing every activity. It's okay to do that. And Disney has kind of graduated tiers, you know, there's the theme parks, there's the cruises. My wife and I are especially excited about, branding Disney has called Adventures by Disney, where they are land-based vacations to places where you would not want to try to make your own memories on your own because they're foreign countries. There's a language barrier, you know, driving on the other side of the street, currency exchange. Who are the trusted vendors? Where could I go? Disney has Adventures by Disney, and they do some dynamite vacations all over the globe, land-based vacations. They'll do riverboat vacations down the Rhine. They'll do expeditions to Machu Picchu in South America, Antarctica. Like, it's, they cover all, and they've partnered with National Geographic for Nat Geo expeditions. So there's a lot you can do. So if a Disney adult says, yes, I'm taking a Disney vacation and I'm doing it without the kids, you might want to check and see. Don't judge them. They're not going to ride Dumbo. They might be doing something crazy gnarly in an exotic part of the world.
Yeah, that's insane. Has there been someone who's come to you that's like wanted a specific type of adventure or certain type of trip that you not necessarily have done on your own? Because I know you've been doing a lot of these different ones already, but is there often that one person that comes in and asks for something super rare?
We're very excited to experience Adventures by Disney for the first time. That's the kind of vacation that my wife and I'll do without the kids, because the kids love the cruise. They love the theme parks. They love the resorts. They love the food. But like the culture thing, it's like, yes, guys, we are in a new port, in a new part of the world. You're going to get off the boat so we can say you were physically on land there. Then you can get back on, you know, but we're really excited about that. So far, most of the navigational things that people are trying to pick my brain about are the ever-changing experiences in the theme park, because you know, we grew up in a day of the fast pass. You'd go and you get fast passes. It would cut your line down. Now they don't offer fast passes. They offer something called the Lightning Lane. The Lightning Lane is a premium add-on to your ticket, whereas fast passes used to be free. Now the Lightning Lane is an additional charge. It's a lot of this that make people go, well, Disney's nickel and diming. Well, here's the thing. Do you want to fly to Florida, spend all that money on airfare, spend all that money on park tickets, and then spend the whole day waiting in lines and ride 3 things? Or do you want to pay a little extra, get the Lightning Lane add-on option, and zip through the lines? Okay. And a lot of people like to pick my brain about cruising, because cruising is this weird misconception. And I'm living proof of the weird misconception. My wife and I, before Disney, before kids, before we were even married, she had taken a cruise. She loved it. And when we were dating, she's like, we should take a cruise. I'm like, I'm not taking a cruise. I grew up watching The Love Boat. I'm like, I'm not gonna do this. I mean, what do? You walk around the boat, you sit, you eat, you know, some different iteration of peas and carrots at every meal, and then you're done. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, that's just my worldview. She's like, shut up, take a cruise with me. So we took I think it was a Carnival cruise. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a fantastic way to travel, because if you don't like where you are, go to bed. You'll wake up somewhere else. You unpack once. You're not worrying about lodging, hotels. You're not worrying about meals. It's all right there. So there's a lot of people who have it in their heads that they'll hate cruising. Well, first of all, we've come a long way since Titanic. Okay. A long way. And If you're especially going to be cruising in the Caribbean and you're worried about like seasickness, the Caribbean is very tame, very calm. Now, I'm not going to lie, there are some passages. We took a cruise in Northern Europe in 2019, and there was a day where we were sailing from Scotland to Iceland, and it was, the North Sea. And I joke with people, I'm like, isn't that the sea where Anna and Elsa's parents bought it?
Yeah.
And it's rough, okay? But it was one day. Like, for the most part, the cruises that you take are very tame. Alaska, the Inside Passage. You want to be out to sea? Fine, take an Alaskan cruise. You see land the whole time. It's called the Inside Passage for a reason. You're not far out to sea. You are there close to land so you can see all the wildlife. So there's a lot of misconceptions that I hope to help people clear up about cruising, because there's no better way to travel because of the fact that it's one cost, and it's your hotel at sea, and it's all your meals. If you were to try to put that together on land or do it yourself, port by port by port by port, oh my gosh, it would be quadruple the price.
That's awesome. What about pirates?
Have not seen any unless it's a pirate day at sea.
Okay.
Yeah, Disney has a special theme. They have Pirate Night, and the characters that you don't normally see on board make special appearances. You're going to see Captain Hook, Mr. Smee, Tinkerbell, Peter Pan, and then there's fireworks. I mean, Disney is the only cruise line that has been permitted to launch fireworks in the middle of the ocean.
That's nuts.
And so you get a fireworks show, a deck show, and so that's the only time you'll see them.
What's their firework budget a year? It's got to be just massive.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you figure the sheer volume. They have
Day.
6 ships, soon to be 8. I mean, they're just the fleet is expanding, and most of those cruises, except for Alaska, because they respect the wildlife, they're not launching fireworks, in Alaska. But I mean, I can't even imagine what they spend. I cannot even imagine what they spend on fireworks and food. I love watching those shows, like the behind the scenes, where you see how many dozens of eggs and how many thousands of pounds of meat. And
We'd like to take a quick break and thank our sponsors.
Junkin Hall.
Need to clear out clutter fast?
Junkin Hall is Colorado Springs' go-to for same-day junk removal.
With the eco-friendly service and a 5-star team you can trust.
Visit junkinhall.com to schedule your free estimate today. That's JUNKNHAUL.com.
Bolton Co. Executive Coaching.
Up feels better than stuck. You know that. But in this market, how do you get unstuck and get ahead as an executive?
Our guy JB is an executive coach at Bolton Co. Coaching, where he believes you don't have to change who you are. You just need an injection of effectiveness and a proven competitive edge roadmap for your way up. Head to boltonco.net. That's boltonco.net. Be Our Guest Getaways. Be Our Guest Getaways specializes in Disney cruise resort and theme park vacations.
Planning a Disney vacation can be stressful. Let Be Our Guest Getaways provide you with concierge-level service for free.
Learn more at beourguestgetaways.com. That's beourguestgetaways.com.
Planet Duct. Planet Duct is the #1 choice for professional air duct cleaning in Colorado Springs and Southern Colorado. With state-of-the-art equipment and top-tier service, they make sure the air in your home or business is clean and allergen-free. Breathe easier with Planet Duct. Learn more at planetduct.com.
Awesome Home Services. Awesome Home Services delivers top-notch HVAC solutions for your home. Whether you need heating, cooling, or system maintenance, they ensure your comfort year-round. Visit awesomeservice.com for your HVAC needs. That's awesomeservice.com.
Proud American Electrical and Solar.
Give Proud American Electrical and Solar a call today for all your electrical and solar needs. They are locally owned and operated business right here in Colorado Springs. If you're looking for information on solar, this is the company you will want to call. Check out their website at proudamericansolar.com. Use promo code COSBusiness for a 5% discount today.
Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care.
Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care offers affordable, accessible healthcare with a focus on you. They provide exceptional primary care without the hassle of insurance barriers. Experience a patient-centered approach. Learn more at pinnacleapc.com.
And now let's get back to the show.
I wanted to talk to you about, celebrity DJ and then all the skill sets that you've learned through that, because we talked a little bit about that in the last episode with you, and incorporating that into this business now, and maybe skipping some of the ignorance tax that you've paid, early on in your first career, right?
Mm-hmm.
What were some of those skill sets that you brought in that's really helped you with Be Our Guest Getaways?
So with weddings, it's a bride and a groom. Maybe there's a, mother of the bride who wants to come to the planning meeting and kind of, interject a few things, but it's one day. It's just one very special day. But it's highly relational. You're trying to make sure that, their vision for their big day is brought to life, and you want to be the gatekeeper of that and keep the show running. But people usually get married once. Okay. I understand 50% of all weddings end in divorce, blah, blah, blah. But usually there's just one big wedding, and I never see these people again. But if you've got, kids at home, you've only got kids at home until they're 18, maybe 21. This window's closing. You don't want to just take one vacation. You want to do it again and again and again. And that's why, we take that relationship that we forge with somebody at the very beginning, could be a complete stranger, and open them to a world that they've never experienced. And they just want to keep coming back. And so, there's that joke that like Disney friends or cruise friends are lifelong friends. There are people who live in this town that I have not seen nearly as recently as these wonderful folks that we met. It was kind of a blended family, a brother and a sister, and their respective spouses and their kids. And we met them in Northern Europe in 2019, and they're from Southern California. Half of them are from Southern California, half are from Texas. And we have since cruised with them again. We've done Disneyland with them. We've stayed at their beach house. I've seen them more recently than people who live, 15 minutes from here. It's because vacations are just all about relationships. It's when you can truly be your best self. I mean, I have a long day at work. I know that I'm sometimes not fit to be around other people. But when you're on vacation, I like to think it's the best version of yourself being shown to everybody around you. And so understanding that it's about that relationship that will help foster not only success for me, but ongoing memories for people. And that's why I like to talk to them about things like the Disney Vacation Club and how, like, if you're on a cruise, put down a placeholder for your next cruise because it's 10% off and you can blah, blah, blah. There's so many little nuances that help people understand that it doesn't have to be this isolated incident. It doesn't have to be this one thing that we did once and wow, wasn't that great? No, you can do it again and again and again.
Now, is there corporate ways to get into? Say me and Chris want to do a big thing. We bring Edgar, we bring Andrew, we bring everybody, and we want to do like a yearly trip with the family and everything.
Oh, yeah.
That's
absolutely.
cool.
Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a vacation for 4 people or 40 people. As I told you, I single-handedly put together a 22-person family reunion across 7 days with 4 different theme parks and lots of different desires. Some people wanted to chill in the resort and have pool time. Some people wanted to go run around the parks. We kind of put together, I guess we'll say we're like your personal assistant, put together that perfect plan for you specifically.
How do you see Disney progressing now? Because they've had a couple missteps just in leadership, but we've been rewatching the Disney movies I grew up with. And I mean, my kids love them. Like even some of the more not recent, but like Mighty Ducks. Yeah. They wrote these, they produced and wrote these movies that were original movies that were incredible. And then it seemed like there was a gap in creativity where they put out some junk. Then they acquired Pixar, which was incredible because they got a lot of talent there. But how do you see that just day to day in the theme parks?
So where I was saying that Disney doesn't have to be just about kids. I mean, a 40-year-old guy might not get super excited about Donald Duck, but Donald Duck's not the only person walking around the park. You've got Captain America, you got Thor, you got Darth Vader, you got Kylo Ren, you got legions of stormtroopers. Like Disney acquiring Marvel and Star Wars and Pixar. There's such a wide variety of offerings now for so many different types of people. I mean, the Star Wars land alone at Galaxy's Edge is incredible. I could spend the whole day there. I could be like, my wife and kids, see you guys later. I'm going to go build a lightsaber. It's like, there's just so many offerings. Some would consider niche, but honestly, there's so many different things for so many different people. You can be a thrill ride person. You can be a tame ride person. You can be, I'm there for the shows, those theme parks. There's so many things that you can do. And that's why I say 3 years old, 93 years old. There's a lot. And it's because Disney has done a great job of constantly reinventing themselves and also owning it when there are missteps. I mean, Chapek took over as kind of the CEO, and that was very short-lived, and it did not go over well. And Iger was like, okay, well, that didn't work. I was going to retire, but I'm going to come back. Like, they own their mistakes and come out better. I mean, I've always said in business and all things in life, it's not the mistakes you make that define you. It's how you recover from them. And Disney has just done a dynamite job in recovering. So
I would agree with that. How often do they renovate the park? Right. So as AI becomes more prevalent, they're going to probably have to change more quickly. When there's a ride, like you said, there's this, animal breathing in and out. How often are they in there actually tweaking the rides and experiences?
I mean, it's amazing to me how many people and how quickly they work. For example, Friday is Halloween. Okay. The park's going to close at midnight. Maybe they're going to have extra magic hours for people, maybe till 1 or 2 a.m. But everything that's Halloween themed will come down and they will get quick pivoted for Christmas. And there's a Beyond the Attraction on Disney Plus, and you can watch some of these behind the scenes things. They talk about how they change the haunted house to get it ready for 'Twas the Nightmare Before Christmas. They talk about how they, redecorate the parks for the various things. And they're constantly tinkering and updating things. And, most recently, Tiana's Bayou Adventure from Princess and the Frog. It was Splash Mountain. And Splash Mountain was a dynamite attraction. I mean, you want to talk about a core memory. That's one that you remember riding as a kid. It was visually stunning. It was a long ride and it was cool, like cool temperate wise. You're baking in the California sun or you're baking in the Florida sun. You go inside, it's a log flume. It's a chill ride. You're hearing music, you're seeing all this stuff. And then there's that big thrill drop at the very end. Disney reimagined it. A lot of people thought it was time because that was based on a movie called Songs of the South that had some, undertones of slavery and racism, and Disney realized that times are changing. And so they reimagined it, and now they've kept the same ride mechanism, but they've changed the theming entirely. So now it's Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and you get to go on this adventure with Tiana from The Princess and the Frog. And we had an opportunity as Disney Vacation Club owners to take a preview ride of it in June of last year before it opened, and it was incredible. It was closed for a while, and a lot of people were upset about that. Oh, I want to go to Disney and experience this ride, but it's better for it. It is better now than it was then.
Now, is that Disney World too? That legendary, like the Splash Mountain now turned into this? Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's super interesting. And so is there a lot of that? Like, because I've only been to Disneyland. So like Disneyland and Disney World, is there a lot of the same rides? Is there a Pirates of the Caribbean in the Disney? Okay.
Yes. So there's some things that are similar, some things that are different. So in Disney World, as part of Hollywood Studios, it used to be called Rock and Roller Coaster, and it was an Aerosmith themed thrill ride, indoor upside down roller coaster.
That's awesome.
They're reimagining that now. Aerosmith has stepped back from touring. I think Steven Tyler finally shattered his voice. And so Aerosmith is no more. And now it's going to be a Muppets attraction. Again, probably similar ride mechanism, but different theming. They don't have that in Disneyland, but they've got the Incredicoaster, which is the big outdoor coaster that you see in California Adventure. So there's a lot of similarities, but there's also, a few differences, a few nuances. There's Toy Story Land in Florida, but they don't have that in California, but they have Cars Land in California, but they don't have that in Florida. So
interesting. Now, when you got incorporated with them and started Be Our Guest Getaways, what does that look like? Like, what kind of control did they give you for all the levers pulling for someone wants this type of trip, that kind of trip? Is there new kind of things that they give you as far as information that's coming along, as far as like new rides opening up? Like, what does it look like as a partner of Disney?
So it wasn't enough for Disney, and I can't say I blame them. It wasn't enough for me to say, I'm a super fan. I know this. Let me come to work. No, they have a thing called the Disney College of Knowledge. Anybody who wants to become, certified as a travel agent specializing in Disney has to complete these trainings. And most of it was like click through, watch video. Yep. Get it. Oh, I never knew that. And then there were some things like, especially the Adventures by Disney, the Nat Geo partnering that I did not know about. And it was fascinating. And they're constantly updating that too. So, we'll get emails. Hey, there's a new module in Disney College of Knowledge. Make sure that you read up on that and everything like that. Cause they want to make sure that if you're going to be an ambassador for their product, that you know their product. So I think that's a fantastic kind of scaffolding tool to make sure that you take that passion and channel that into working knowledge.
You mentioned the Disney Vacation Club. Tell us about that.
So it's a timeshare, but here's the thing. It's a timeshare that I love to own. And that's weird because you don't really ever hear people say, I'm so glad I bought that timeshare. I mean, there are commercials on the radio telling you how to break away from your timeshare, okay? But as with all things Disney, they found a way to do it right. We first stumbled across it in 2012. We were out at Disneyland. It was our first time. My wife and I, both from the East Coast, had never been. We went to Disneyland. The kids are little and kept seeing this kiosk, the Disney Vacation Club. And they were offering like a bunch of fast passes for like some hard to get rides if you just came in and listened to them. And so I was like, hey, it's hot. There's air conditioning. The kids, there's a playroom. Let's go and talk. And I'll never forget, sat down with a gentleman by the name of David Ferguson. And I'm the biggest skeptic when it comes to parting with my hard-earned money. Okay. And, he's talking about it and it sounds great, but I'm like looking at the price point and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know, buddy. I know they teach you to get us to sign before we walk away, but we're best if we can think about it and get back to you. And he goes, no, that's fine. No pressure. He goes, I do want to ask you a question though. He's like, do you have car insurance? I said, yeah. He goes, do you have home insurance? I said, yes. He goes, do you have life insurance? I said, yes. He goes, how much do you spend on that annually? I said, thousands. And he goes, yeah. And it's all to ensure against bad things happening. Wouldn't it be great to take a chunk of that money and put it into something that can ensure that at least once a year, something great can happen? And I looked at him and I did the slow golf clap. I was like, listen, I've been told that I can sell ice to Eskimos. That is the greatest thing I've ever been told. And we thought about it and we ended up buying in. You buy a percentage of ownership at a multitude of their resorts. So we have been blessed enough to be able to acquire 4 contracts. So we own a portion of Saratoga Springs Resort in Florida, the Polynesian Resort in Florida, the Grand Floridian Resort in Florida, and we most recently purchased at the Villas at Disneyland Hotel, the new refurbished area out in Disneyland. And you're given a yearly allotment of points. Now, is it a big upfront cost? Yes. You can finance it over 10 years at XYZ APR, or you can pay it outright. We've been fortunate enough to be able to pay these outright, and we just have these points. So every year we know we can use points to stay on property, which if you look at the cash value versus what we paid, we bought it in 2012. If I look at what I paid in 2012, the 240 points I get per year at Saratoga Springs, and then you look at the cash value of what it is now, I like locked in 2012 pricing, And so that is what keeps us coming back. And so the Disney Vacation Club is one of those things where if you decide after going to Disney World, Disneyland on a Disney cruise, you decide that that's the thing for you, that's what you and your family want to be a part of, I do encourage people to look at it because I know people that will go to Disney World or Disneyland every single year. And I'm like, how much did you spend every year for 10 years? Oh my gosh. If you just bought into the Disney Vacation Club, you would have spent half that. Okay. So it's one of those things where people like delaying the inevitable. It's like, all right, do I want to pay for one vacation a year for 10 years, or do I want to just outlay money right now kind of prepay for vacations. But that is how I did a 22-person family reunion. I was able to get 22 people from my family who I love dearly into their own resort accommodation using our points. They didn't have to pay. I said, get yourself down here, buy your park tickets. We're going to take care of where you stay. And so, and it's a 50-year ownership. So I'm thinking my daughter's wedding, my son's honeymoon, trips with the grandbabies someday. I'm thinking long-term, those kinds of things. It'll give us that opportunity.
That's really interesting. And we do a bunch of personal and business planning with our clients.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I struggle with, that you struggle with, a lot of our clients is putting their vacations down first. And that's what we always recommend. So we've got a tool called the One-Page Life Plan. And we're like, hey, you're going to fill it with business things and busy things.
Yeah.
The first thing you need to do is book all your vacations for the year. Because if not, like this year, we booked them all. And then it's like, all right, great. Next year, I told my wife, I'm like, hey, we got to get them in the books, because if not, it'll be September and we're like, oh, we forgot to do any vacations.
Well, and that's the other thing too that people don't realize. Disney is designed for the pre-planner in mind. You're never going to find a cheaper Disney cruise rate than the day it goes on sale. And the day it goes on sale is usually a year and a half, sometimes 2 years in advance of when it actually sets sail. Okay.
That's wild.
I learned this working in the wedding industry. I was getting booked 18 to 24 months in advance. So we would book our vacations that far out. And you just watch the price point creep up and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we pulled the trigger when we did, because the closer to the date it gets, it's not like, oh, it's going to get cheaper the way concert tickets do right when the opening act comes on. It's not going to get cheaper. It's going to get more expensive.
It's kind of like planting a tree. When do you plant a tree? Yesterday or today? When do you buy a Disney vacation? Yesterday or today?
Right, exactly. But that's not to discourage people. I have some clients right now who are literally looking at traveling from Japan to the States to do a Disney cruise and Disney World, and they're looking at doing it around the holidays. We can still make that happen. We can pull the trigger and move very quickly. But breathing room for both financial and planning is it's better. It's more preferred for all parties involved if it's a little farther out.
Yeah. Sure. How did you so when you started this, how are you getting some new clientele into this business? You just mentioned folks coming over from Asia, I think, coming over here. How are you garnering some of your first clientele when you were starting this up?
My family and my friends are a great network. They know that I've been passionate about this, and they know that we've traveled Disney for years and years and years. So when I told them that I was making this an official thing, they were very excited. And I've been very blessed to have my network, share some stuff. My wife's best friend's brother and his wife live in Japan. He teaches English to Japanese kids. And so those are my Japanese clients. It's a lot of family and friends. And then as things progress, the web just spreads. And so more and more people, oh yeah, I heard about you from so-and-so. Can you help me out? I have some soon to be signed on the dotted line clients who just took a cruise. My son plays baseball with their son. They booked it through a travel agent. We just got to talking, watching our sons play baseball. And I was saying, oh, great. So did your travel agent mention this, and this? And they were like, no, what? And so I made a point to just kind of step in and help them understand that there's this that you can do and this little nuance, and make sure you've done this, and this is the date for that. And I've got clients out of it now. So it's really just a matter of, word of mouth.
Love it. So for all the listeners, what's a question you would ask them that would kind of be an intro to see if they're ready to have a conversation with you?
What I would ask is, when's the last time your family of 3, 4, 7, 8, when's the last time you guys truly sat down and felt like you were connected as a family? And there's going to be some people that say, oh yeah, I think we did a game night last October, or yeah, we went to the movies. But here's the thing. You go to the movies, you sit in silence for 2 hours, you watch a movie. Oh, we have family movie night. Yeah. Y'all look over. The kids are going to be on their phones. Mom and dad are watching the movie. Maybe mom and dad are on their phones too. When's the last time you felt like you truly connected on an emotional level with your kids? Because, everybody says, oh, the lines, waiting in lines. Well, and the the lightning lanes do help cut those down. But there are still going to be times where you're waiting in line with your family, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe an hour. And you're standing there, you're waiting in line and you're watching the world go by in the most magical place on earth. It's a great time for conversation. You know, what I love about Disney is that my device obsessed teenagers still have their devices, but they're like present. You know, when's the last time a family felt like they were truly present together? If they want that, one of the first places to start would be Disney.
That's awesome.
Yeah, core memories, just like you were talking about. I was just thinking while you were saying that for myself, and I was like, man, one of the last times I connected with just my family was a vacation right before COVID.
Yeah.
That was super fun, that we went to Breckenridge and we ran like a big house in Breckenridge and did like the tubing and all that fun stuff. It was just so much fun. And it's just something to be said, like when you put yourself out there, and it has to be something usually outside of like the norm, like the house, right? Because you have your space in the house. People go to their rooms, do their thing. Something that's a little bit less comfortable that you're kind of adventuring together.
Right.
The personalities come out and you can really connect with people. It's so important. It's so important in a world full of noise. There's so much noise now. I mean, we were just talking about how volatile life is right now in so many aspects.
Right.
Or social media or this trend or that trend or who's performing the Super Bowl, whatever it is. Like, it's so noisy right now, but for some reason, a vacation gets you away from it.
It does. It does. And what's really nice about working with a travel agent is no one person in the family has to be the bad guy. Like, you know, there's always the type A. And there's going to be that person who attacks Disney World like it is this massive to-do list. Well, if you've got, you know, AJ and Be Our Guest Getaways with a detailed, itemized list of proposed and suggested things, you can be like, well, you know, AJ said, make me the bad guy.
I love that. The other thing I was thinking about as you were talking about Avatar, so we're going to do the Sandbox VR all together.
Okay.
And I did it with some of my team like 2 months ago. And it was so much fun because it's the 3-dimensional physical interaction, not just the video game or something that you're just or a movie that you're watching. And I think I didn't really value that until I got in there, and it's a very limited version of what Disney does, right? But you're moving, you're walking, things are coming at you. And we came out of that. I mean, you're laughing and you're just, you know, having this interaction that's 3-dimensional. That I think is so very different than 99% of how we interact with life.
Well, and I don't want people to think that Disney is, you know, all thrill rides. That's what Universal's for. Universal has a lot of thrill rides. Avatar isn't some crazy intense, oh my gosh, I'm going to die kind of ride. They have fully immersive family fun rides. A family favorite for the four of us is called Toy Story Mania. It's in Hollywood Studios in Florida. It's in California Adventure in Disneyland. And it's, you know, you put on these glasses and you go through this slow moving cart, and it's like carnival games with the Toy Story characters. And my wife and son, they're the super competitive ones, and they're always trying to beat each other with a high score because you've got like, you know, this thing that you can use. It's like a gun and you're shooting. It could be a carnival game where you're popping balloons or throwing pies or trying to get ring toss, and it's just super tame and it's so much fun.
That's awesome.
How does AJ Matthews view this whole thing happening in his career, this stage of your life, and looking back at it as like your legacy? Like what does the next 10 years look for you? If it was the perfect way you wanted to paint this career to kind of, I don't want to say end, but like as you kind of sunset everything, as you kind of move into your older years, like what does it look like for you to build a legacy?
You know, I am inordinately proud of Celebrity DJ. And the growth over the years, and to think that it started as a one-man operation, and now, you know, we stopped counting at like 2,000 weddings, and we've just made so many memories for people that way. But there's a limited shelf life, you know, as someone ages. I mean, as I said, I'm going to be 50 next June, and I dye the hair, but there's going to come a point where a young 20-something couple is going to look and be like, I don't know if that's the guy that's going to bring the party to our wedding, you know? So I envision over the next 10 years, being able to step back from that. What I do with Celebrity DJ, I don't know if I hang on to owning it and just do the admin stuff and let the younger guys do it. I haven't decided, but I know that I am one of those people who's happiest when they're in motion, when they're busy, when they're working. But again, it's got to be the right kind of work. It's got to be fulfilling and rewarding work. Be Our Guest Getaways is something I can do without leaving my home. And it's also something that I can grow as I grow in my experience with Disney. I'll be, vlogging when I'm in Australia and New Zealand on board the cruise ship, just kind of helping people understand what this is all about in this part of the world. And just, it's something I'm passionate about. So I don't really feel like it's working, but it's like a side hustle I can have as I look to start retiring. Not to mention the fact that the more I vacation, the better I become as a travel agent specializing in Disney. So it's like, that's a win-win right there.
Yeah. Love that. So you're a professor, a coach, you do a lot of things. And I think it's really fascinating as we think about bringing the magic into other areas. So Creativity Inc., the book on Pixar, it's one of the best leadership books out there. I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful book. And with our team, we've really said, hey, as you think about solving a problem, don't think in the box. Like, go take some time and say like, hey, we've never done it this way, but would this serve our clients better? How is this interaction with Disney? How have you brought that with your students to be able to coach them a little bit about bringing magic to their life and their careers and how they're thinking about their future?
So it was once said that growth is a healthy dose of creativity mixed with naivete. And that's one thing that I do love about working with students is they don't know what they don't know. I'm teaching them radio based on my years in the field, and they'll ask me a question about something that somebody, a career radio veteran would be like, that would never work. And I'm like, why wouldn't it work? Let me think about that. Like, having young students has helped me feel younger. Having a daughter in college helps shape who I am to them as well. I think about, well, if my daughter has a negative interaction with the professor, I'm like, oh man, I'm really mad about that. Wait a minute. Did I do that today to a student? So it helps me, it helps me stay in touch. And I do, I teach a broadcast management class and Disney does come up. I'm like, it's not broadcast, but it's Disney. And the reason everyone knows Disney, and if you don't even say Disney, they know what that D in that font is. They know it because of the branding and the idea behind it. And I love that saying that everybody who works and exists in the Disney bubble says, just to think it all started with a mouse. I mean, it was one guy, an animator, a cartoonist, and look at the empire that he built, the legacy. And it's because he didn't want to grow up. He didn't want to grow up. He wanted to create a place where people could go and feel connected to their childhoods, no matter how far away from their childhoods they were. And, that word royalty with Disney, you think about the princess movies and the castles and the princes and the kings and queens. They make you feel like royalty. My goodness, the first thing that happens when you cross the gangway onto a Disney cruise ship, the entire staff is lined up in the atrium, and there's a MC with a microphone, and they'll say, what's their family name? You say Matthews, and they'll say, Disney Wonder, at this time, we would like to welcome the Matthews family. And this is through the whole ship. And it's like this red carpet treatment and everybody's applauding. And it's like, oh my gosh, I just stepped into another world. And again, it just comes back to that attention to detail. It's a little thing they do. It doesn't cost them anything to do that, but it just sets the tone and makes people feel so special. So there's a lot we can learn about the way Disney has evolved since 1928.
Yeah, I love that. There's a book you and I have talked about called Unreasonable Hospitality. One of the most famous chefs, most successful restaurants across the country. And he really focuses, it's very similar to the Disney. How do we put a little extra magic in how we serve our people and the food? And I think as business owners, we've lost that a little bit. And I keep encouraging that, like, hey, it is all about hospitality. You're serving somebody no matter what you do. We're here to serve.
Right.
How do you do that a little bit differently, a little more special? Make that person that's having a bad day walk in and be like, wow, that was different. I love that.
Exactly. Well, and that's one thing too that I like to offer. I will generate as many different quotes for as many different iterations of cruising and parks or theme parks and resorts, whatever they want to do. No cost. And I don't care if it's just one quote and they sign on the dotted line, or it's 10 quotes and they say, no, not right now. I know that they have the information they need. And when they're ready, they'll come back.
That's awesome.
You know, so just knowing, just kind of empowering them, because I think a lot of people think that Disney is this, it's this insurmountable thing. It's too far out of reach. We can't do that. You know, the economy and you know, we're working so hard and everything is so expensive and inflation. We can't do Disney. And when you put it down on paper, they start to realize maybe we could. You know, it was amazing. I was in for a routine doctor's check and I've got my smartwatch and I've got these Disney Vacation Club bands on it. And the nurse who was taking my vitals, she's like, what's that? And I told her about it. She's like, you know, we just finalized an adoption with our boys and we were thinking it'd be really cool. And she's got me pulling quotes for her. You know, she might not do it now. She might never do it, but she at least saw that it is something that can be done. And it is really more in people's wheelhouse than they may think.
That's so great.
I mean, imagine capturing the whole world, 'cause that's what Disney has done through their theme parks and all their different things that they've done, their movies. It's truly one of the most powerful brands in the world. It's just super fascinating to think about. Like, you definitely, if we think about some of the most powerful brands in the world, I mean, come to mind now are just like tech companies nowadays, right? You got like the Apple or like the Facebook Meta, right? And all these things, but like Disney has been around for so long, and it's such a cool story. Andrew and I have kicked around the backstory of Disney, and it's just an insane story of how he got started and how he failed and stumbled over and over and over again. Yes.
Oh, I've listened and read to many biographies on Walt Disney. It's just a fascinating mind.
Gosh,
For sure.
I'm going to get you that book, Last Lecture, so you can read it, because it's really good. He was actually on Oprah because it was such a good book.
That sounds
and,
great.
I mean, again, it was about him writing to his kids, but it was talking about like adopting into the Disney culture and what it meant to be an Imagineer and like working his whole career to be that one day. Because it was such a dream for him to be that one of those people who design those immersive experiences of rides for the whole parks. And it was just such a cool story. AJ.
I just can't stress enough. You can always work more. You can always make more money. But the most valuable commodity that any of us have is time. And it's fleeting. So spend money, take vacations. All right. Because that window's closing. So get in while you can.
Yep. I think too, like as we think about the US, that's what the US does so different than other countries. And I've said this, like it's ingenuity, creativity that we do better than anywhere else. So Ray Dalio's really kind of on this, he's a big economic guy and he's like, yeah, China's taking over. And I'm like, not in my view. In my opinion, the US will always dominate, not because of these things, but because we have this philosophy around go create something out of nothing. You know, like Jobs, like Elon, like all these people that are like, hey, this is something that can never be done. They're like, I bet I could do it. I bet I could do that thing. And I think Disney was that way. He's like, I think we could create this thing that no one's ever done before. And everyone was like, it'll never happen. You'll be bankrupt. And he's like, well, I guess. Love it.
But he never gave up.
Never gave up.
Gosh. AJ, this has been so fun hanging out with you again.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Every year, every 6 months, we always love hanging out with you.
Well, I promise you this time next year, I won't have a different business. I'm done.
Don't promise us that. You never know.
Oh man, I'm telling you, this is my passion project and I'm all about growing this. So
that's great.
Also want to know that thank you so much for having us talk to your students too. It was such an honor for Andrew and myself to talk to your students, talk about podcasting and what it takes. And like, you have these things that are like super popular and super fun. And podcasting is that. Like, I look forward to this every single Tuesday. It's so much fun having conversations with people, but it is a lot of work. And so it was kind of cool, kind of giving them that side of the coin too, of being like, it took us 5 years to kind of now almost 6 years to kind of get to this point. And just like, it was cool seeing that naivety, like you were talking about, and them talking. Some of them, I mean, we're asking questions. I'm like, man, I should really incorporate that into what we're doing. So it's cool. It was so cool to see that. And you, by the way, I don't know if we've ever mentioned this, but you've been doing that for over 20 years now, close to 20?
Teaching. Yeah. I joined Pikes Peak State College as an adjunct back in 2005. And have taken over the radio side of things, now audio content creation as we evolve. And yeah, it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful because I decided after 15 years in radio, I didn't want to do it anymore, but I still loved it. And I wanted to teach people who were still passionate about how to get into it. And I love listening around the dial in this market. Half the people on the air are former students of ours. So
That's so good.
Yeah. Well, this.
yes, around the Nick dial.
Inside joke, folks, but we love the Dial family. Jay and Nick Dial, shout out to you guys. This has been awesome, man. Well, this is your camera right here. Where can we find you, AJ?
So you can log on to beourguestgetaways.com, or you can shoot me an email, AJ at beourguestgetaways.com. You can always pick up the phone and call, or text 719-649-6121. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. My daughter handles my social media because that's her world and she's really good at it. But absolutely, we love fresh content and we'd love to hear from people.
Awesome. Well, this has been the COS Business Podcast, and we'll see you guys on the next one.